Hello guys and welcome to the channel. This is WvW. In today's video I want to talk about everything how to fight as a druid, or more like how to one-shot. It's like how to be as aggressive as possible, the perfect combo, the perfect CC chain, how to utilize your bait, and the most important, how I use my Celestia avatar. There will be another part to this in how to survive. So there is so many to talk about, but I will be focusing about the main things, not how every reaction you could take or how you adapt in a fight. So for example, for Celestia avatar, if someone running from you and you're trying to chase them, you could enter Celestia avatar, cast skill 3 from distance to immobilize them, leave Celestia avatar, cast skill 4 on short bow or on staff to continue with an immobilized chain. This is a way to react to the fight, because the enemy trying to run, you would use it. If you're trying to kite, you could use the opposite. You could cast skill like this behind you, you could cast skill staff 4 behind you to immobilize him while kiting. This is not what we're interested in this video. We will talk about specific combos to ensure an instance this if possible and a complete lockdown to the enemy. So starting with Celestia avatar. We have explained in the build video, and you can go back and check it, how it works, the details, the timing, stuff like that. The idea is you have a skill with healing and vulnerability. This skill for rumors is completely ignored. Unless you're a support druid, there is no real time to cast it, and it's a waste of time inside Celestia avatar. So you would be losing momentum, you would be losing so many of the astral power, and you would have longer time even switching between your weapons and stuff like that. So you almost never use this skill in a real fight. Skill 2 is instant cast. It can be cast even while CC'd. You can enter Celestia avatar while under crowd control, leave it, and even cast this skill. Everything that doesn't have a cast time can be casted even under control, like your own stun break for example. And skill 3 would do an immobilize and a daze. All skills give healing obviously, and skill 4 would give might, healing, and chill to the enemy. And skill 5 would balls might to you and allies, and will balls to the enemy cripple, slow, and burning, and will give you initial cast on the initial cast 2 stacks of stability, and after the cast or the last balls it will do an explosive damage higher and higher amount of burning, and will start an effect called black hole for anyone in the vicinity of it. Will start repeatedly immobilizing enemy or rooting them down 4 balls. It's not 5 as the skill show, because it happened only after the black hole appear. This skill root you in place. So the main idea in how to land your skills, you want to land the damage of natural conversion, because we are running Blood Moon and run Eclipse. That's why we have a lot of conditions here, and Blood Moon will give bleed on every CC or immobilize. So something like skill 4 for example, natural conversion, can land up to 4 times Blood Moon beside its own damage from burning. Likewise, skill Lunar Impact have immobilize and daze, so it can land 2 times Blood Moon. So how I use Celestia avatar, what is the best method to use Celestia avatar? It depends on the enemy a lot, but the idea is you always want to make sure to land as much damage as possible, so hopefully you finish casting natural conversion, landing the black hole effect on every enemy around you if possible. So if the enemy are prone to CC, like it's easier to lock them down, and when you lock them down you nullify most of their actions, you most likely should start with Lunar Impact, or that's how I would go about the combo. Because I want as short time between my different CCs as possible, so they never have a breathing room to ball anything. So even if they stun break, I would follow immediately with another CC to interrupt their condition cleanse or condition transfer, like for a necro or something like that. But if you are prone to CC and the enemy is very capable to handling what you throw against them, they will simply eat the stack of bleed, but not the control itself, like if you fight in a warrior, or something with a block like a holosmith. So people who have stability or have the way to come closer to you, or even they want to be in melee. Like a harbinger can kill you from distance, it's not a big deal from him. There's a melee, even if it's a barrier, he doesn't really need it. But a warrior or a holosmith would, so they would allow you to free cast natural conversion unless you want to avoid it. So you always want to secure the cast, but you already have an advantage in casting it. And you want, most likely, to secure your own self against the CC, so the initial cast of this stability can help you even further, while the daze will not even land on them most of the time, either because they are blocking while you're trying to land your burst, or because they already have stability, or they are having, or they are dodging, repeatedly dodging, so they avoid most of the hits, even with weapons like Great Sword 3 for Warrior. So if you're fighting something like Spellbreaker, you would start with skill 5 and go with the rest of the combo normally. So you would ball them with Iboga next to you, or you would immobilize them pre-casting this skill, whether before you enter City Avatar completely or even after you enter City Avatar, and go the combo normally. If you're fighting something like a Harbinger, you're trying to one-shot them so you don't allow them time to cleanse or give your condition back, you would start with Lunar Impact, then immediately go to Natural Conversion, and when the days is over, you would already landed another CC like Ball from Iboga, and then go with another CC, leaving City Avatar immediately, and then immobilize and CC and another one, and just completely burst them down. So let's show how this will look like. So let's say you're fighting, you already have conditions, enemy, stuff like that. You enter City Avatar, cast skill 5 with skill 2, bowling with Iboga, and then another CC, Summit Shell. You can even wait and cast this again, another CC with another immobilize, another CC, create distance, even can do that. You can heal under them for slow and more immobilize. This is great burst. So the idea, as simple, you enter City Avatar, you cast skill 5 with skill 2, remember we said it's already instant cast, so you don't have to wait while casting it, and ball with Iboga, the enemy next to you, unless they already immobilized, and even if they already immobilized, you want to CC them. Then cast skill 3. You can immediately leave, or cast a single balls or 2 even from this to apply the chill. Chill can be very annoying in fights, because now the enemy have longer cooldown, have more cover condition, and if you see you have enough time, just react to the fight. You can cast it enough that this skill come again, so you apply more poison and more blind. And the mix with stability and the blind make it very difficult to stop you from or cancel your own burst with whatever the enemies do, or even trade bunches with you, because you already make them miss their first attack. And you chain the immobilize and CC. So skill 5, skill 4, and even with the damage like skill 3, and your Signet, your Glyph, your Entangle, even your healing for Child of Earth for slow and immobilize, and make it very difficult to the enemy do anything. The other method is you start with Lunar Impact and go to the same cycle. So just the idea is you make a less room, or a less breathing room between the different CC and immobilizes you land. So it would look something like this. And then immediately go to another CC, immediately go to another immobilize, and etc. This is just a simple example of it.
Bringing the pain.
Hurts, doesn't it?
I don't have enough energy.
Most of the time I also switch my bit so I would land the second CC from it. So if I'm on Turtle, it's easy to let her land her CC, or even stay on her until I finish my own CC, and then go to Iboga and use her own. If I'm the other way around, I go to Turtle and will land her Daze and her Leap, or her Slam. And that gets us to another point. It's the idea of macro management to your bit. So Turtle, as you can see here, she will land her Daze because it is from far, it's from distance. As you can see, it already affected the Defiance bar, but she will stick here. So always macro manage your bit using Return to Me and Attack My Target. So how would I position her? Let's say this is the enemy I mobilize, he can't go anywhere. I use Return to Me, so the Turtle come here, and once she get to the distance I want, I order her to attack. And since she stand next to him, she will start using her melee CC. This idea of macro managing your bit will allow you to save the bit or control it to land its damage and time it. Besides, it will solve the problem of bits not queuing your own orders, or basically queuing the orders. So if the bit started engaging like that, it's already casting its damage, and I cast this skill, as you see it didn't cast it, didn't listen to me, it have to finish his own skills first, which is those two. So if you want to land the CC immediately at the time you want, call the bit to you, use Return to Me and immediately press this. So you interrupt its own action and immediately force your own command. So I would use that and that, and immediately she will go into CC. Like that. It didn't cast any other skill.
Attack!
Now take us to another point, which is double casting, or the idea of even minimizing the amount of time between your CCs and damage as much as possible. The problem with condition is it builds up damage, so it's not as fast or instantaneous as power damage. So the shorter amount of time you have between this damage to happen or stack, if you make it stack as fast as possible and as high as possible, to do this damage as soon as possible, you make it harder for the enemy to do anything. When you have 10 stacks of burning and you start casting a cleanse, if it's not instant, you still taking damage until this cleanse happen. So the idea to do that is we try to cast our skills while using a skill that doesn't have cast time. So don't enter Celestia Avatar simply and then start casting your skills. Why not use the time while you enter Celestia Avatar to cast something? So something like skill, like my Signet of the Wild here, have a cast time, but enter Celestia Avatar doesn't. I want to catch the enemy in the immobilize, so I start casting Natural Conversion. So I would start casting Signet of the Wild once I get near the enemy and daze them, so they even can't react as fast, can't answer my hits, they can't CC me to stop me from casting a skill. They have nothing to do, they can't do anything. And I start chaining the CC immediately. So it would look something like that. I start casting and intercept the avatar while casting and immediately start with Lunar Impact and can go with the CC from the bit and immediately leave, go with another CC and entangle, something like that. You can use the same trick with entangle as well with Signet of the Wild, and I use it for anything. The same way we use it for skill 2 on Celestia Avatar because it doesn't have a cast time. You can use this even on a survivability method, like casting Healing Spring while dazing the enemy, so you prevent the enemy from interrupting your healing. But that's not a survivability video, so I will leave the details about this for the next part. But the idea is you simply start casting the heal and immediately daze the enemy, so the enemy can't stop you from healing. Now, another trick I want to share with you is the idea of controlling your position more efficiently. So, skill 3 on a short bow, for example, will give you a big distance behind, especially if you were inside Celestia Avatar and went out, so you end up with a super speed, and the distance will be very big. So let's say you want to be next to the enemy to land the sigil, for example, or to apply the other days or next days immediately. So what you do is you start casting it and switch weapon by entering Celestia Avatar. So if you're outside from here, just like that, you start using it and enter Celestia Avatar, like that. And you end up in the same position. And now you landed the days from Blood Moon by entering Celestia Avatar, and you landed the glyphs, and you can follow up with another days. There are so many tricks that you can ball out with things like that, but those are the main idea. Now you already know how to apply the combo, the different methods or the best 2 methods to use Celestia Avatar, when to use them against enemies that have the upper hand in control or against the enemies that would really struggle with control. Enemy would struggle with control, you would use the control, so you start with lower impact. Enemy that will hurt you using control, like Spellbreaker or something, you would, most of the time you would use Natural Conversion in the full burst as the starting mechanism. And we talked about double casting skills or doing the burst as fast as possible. We talked about the combo chain and the macro management to the bit and few tricks. This is it for the video, and you can ask me anything in the comments, but now I will leave you with some commentary and examples on doing this CC chain combo or the one-shot style when actually enemy couldn't navigate around it and secure their own survivability, and a little bit on when the enemy can actually push back. So let's start against the Harbinger. As you can see, I start with Glyph and Entangle, enter Celestia Avatar for a CC, switch bit to ball him, use Lunar Impact, chill another blind. He can't give me condition, he can't survive this CC, he can't remove the immobilize, and he's stuck in place, and it's over. And let's look for another example against another Harbinger, and try to pay attention how many CCs here. Ball, daze, immobilize, poison. He gives the condition back, but I daze him again. I remove the stack of stability and dazed again, so I use the glyph and enter Celestia Avatar. Landing my own Lunar Impact, blinding him, landing my full CC. The bit dazed him, and then used the lunge. Even spectral walk that he used to save himself didn't remove all that. The stun break immediately followed with another CC, so he couldn't survive it. Let's look at that again. Daze, ball, immobilize. He put the stability, and I remove it by double CCing, and immediately goes another immobilize. He stun break, but my bit daze him, and then follow with the slam itself. And I even heal under him for slow and immobilize for extra damage, and even make it harder for him to cast anything. And it was over. Let's show the next example against a Reaper who can navigate around this, and how I will shut down even the way he fight. So I immediately go with full CC mode, so I ball him, another daze, cripple, more damage. I thought I was out, like I already moved the side enough, but I didn't, so I create distance between me and him. He focused on the bit or try to see if I will come back next to him. I immediately interrupt his casting for stability and the stun, and go easy full mode because he stay next to me, so I simply cast skill 5. And he's immobilized, so under shroud he can't do anything. I stand by distance and simply apply my damage. He eat even more CC and immediately try to ball him. Daze again, immobilized with another daze, even stopped his CC. So inside shroud, when he was vulnerable but very powerful, I kept him away from me by immobilize. And outside of shroud, I kept him under control by CC all the time. And here against the Virtuoso, immobilize, mix casting with the daze immediately, stack enough conditions, another immobilize, casting, like we said, mid-entering Celestial Avatar, so there is no time to waste while enter, you immediately start casting. And the fight was over immediately. Second one, a Soul Beast came, and then he will be joined by the Virtuoso again. So the Soul Beast, I seen immediately that he have the full burst build. Too much conditions, too much damage, a hybrid that will do as much damage as possible, as fast as possible. So you can't kill a Soul Beast with a droid while he have his stances. He need to waste him. He need to use the healing stance, use the Doliac stance. So I'm just buying time here, and I can fight longer fights than he can. So once he finished all his skills, I immobilize him before he enter the keep, but he already used his condition cleanses, so he stuck, can't do anything about it. He was probably surprised with that burst in a way. And I free cast skill 5 since the Virtuoso next to me, so he can't do anything about my stability. He will eat the full burst, and that's what happened. He took the immobilize, and now both of them are down. Let's look to a very powerful example, which is Scrubber. But he will fall for it. So ball, daze, I interrupt his reflect while casting the signet by another daze, entangle while entering Celestial Avatar for another daze, cast lunar impact immediately, and then free cast skill 5. And the fight was over. Unless he had a way to completely nullify what I did, there was nothing that he could do to leave. Let's do another example for an holosmith. So I start with daze and immobilize, try to catch him in place, and even ball him with my bit. He goes to Elixir S for invulnerability. I secure myself from his damage, daze, and apply entangle to make sure I can land skill 5 in Celestial Avatar, and it's easily landable now.
You'll be doing that one for days.
Turns. I chose you. Endurance. Running out of endurance. Urge to kill rising. Refreshing.
I hope this guide was helpful to play droid and know how to apply your damage. The next part, as we said, gonna be about survivability when it says released, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. That's it for the video, but any questions or any comments you want, I will read them all and I'll be seeing you next time.